Welcome in, everybody, to a Thursday night edition of the Joe Quills Show. I am Joe Quills, of course, and Thursday night got a lot to talk about here, and also got you some picks here for the weekend as we get ready for the weekend here. A weekend where I will be working. It'll be not. I'll end up by the time Monday night comes around. It'll be not 5, not 6, 7 days in a row, but it is what it is, and doing what I can to make that coin because we went through our first round of vacation selection. And the way that we do vacation selection, um, first we put in our full weeks, and then we put in uh, excuse work days, floating holidays. There's a whole format. I forget how it works, um, but you know, I get a message like 10 minutes after I start work. Oh, you gotta talk to so and so. You gotta give your weekly vacations. And me personally, I don't like to break my vacations into days. I like to keep everything in a week, especially for what I got planned for next year. And got a lot of fun things that I'm working on for 2025. Um, Not sure if I'm going to announce the one thing in the next couple of days or not, but um, I do have things planned out for the calendar year next year already. So fingers are crossed, and I'm sure so are some people's eyes. As got some got some fun things that are coming up in 2025, and hopefully everything will work out well with it. Uh, One or two people know already what's going on. Mike doesn't know yet, but he will know Monday if I don't tell him before, if we don't mention it ahead of time. Um, but yeah, I'm getting excited for next year. So a lot of things are going to be happening, and hopefully you'll be along with the ride with me here. Um, so you know, follow me on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, all the Joe Quills. Uh, if you want, I mean, my preferred streaming platform is Twitch. So if you're on one of those other platforms, come on over to Twitch, twitch.tv/Joe Quills. Give me a follow. It's free. I don't bite unless you're a female and you want me to, but I'm bump. But we'll you get to, and also with if you follow me on YouTube, not on YouTube, if you follow me on Twitch, you also get the alert of when I go live. So about 5 seconds into the stream, you'll get that alert. Joe Quills is live, and whatever goofy comment I have on there right now, it's if all is not lost, where is it? Well, my mind is lost. Not only I forget what that saying is about, my mind being homeless or whatever, um, but things are going to be interesting next year. Let's just say that. So, but I'm also keeping track of the football game for you guys here. I believe they're under 2 minutes here. Um, oh, 4 minutes left. Okay. The timeout there threw me off there because I thought they were in the final 2 minutes. Cleveland is up 7-3 on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you were, um, watching last night's show, I did give you the Cleveland Browns tonight on the money line. And I gave you a good reason for it as well. Being that um, the Cleveland Browns are hosting this game, and even beyond that, even if you were listening to other streamers and shows and stuff like that, um, Mike Tomlin is 0-5 in games against on Thursday night football on the road. So yeah, that's a trend, but sometimes trends are meant to be broken. But sometimes you get lucky, you get a lucky break and you finally win a game, you know. But you gotta play the full 60 minutes, all the cliches I could add to it as well, but I'll keep a track of that for you. So got a 7-3 game there in Cleveland in our first snow game of the year. And I will use finger quotes and say snow game because to tell you the truth, it's really it's the snow globe effect where you will see the snowflakes on the screen, but it doesn't lay on the field. And the way the weather's going through right now, it may even change the rain for all we know. Because Cleveland is the mistake by the lake. But you know, this is a game that um, could wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh loses just because they had such an emotional game on Sunday against Baltimore. But um, Mike's sending me a text here. The audio sounds choppy. Um, let me see here. So let me play a couple of seconds here on the laptop here because I got the laptop directly underneath me. So it does sound okay to me right now. So I think we'll plow through this here. Um, I did buffer there on my video there, so uh, yeah. But I've been buffering all week for some reason. Um, I don't know what it is, but whatever. So Cleveland got the ball back there. I don't know how I wasn't paying attention. Mike also says it may have been bit on his end, um, but my video's buffering as well. I just think it's probably my internet because I do not have FiOS because um, my apartment complex is in bed with Comcast, and the upload speeds on fiber is so much better than uh, on Comcast that I could see that it could be on my end. It may be on Mike's. It could be mine as well. Who knows? But either way, um, it is going to be um, a little. I'll keep an eye on it, and Mike will be texting me every 5 minutes. Oh, now you're choppy. Now you're not. Now you're choppy. Now you're not. I'm a teepee. I'm a wigwam. I'm a teepee. I'm a wigwam. Dude, calm down. You're too tense. But anyways, on the bottom of the screen, you see everything that's going on here. I try to update that. Um, I try to let you guys know what's on there, and we'll try to get through most of the stories here. And we're definitely going to go through the Philly Fade. The Philly Fade has been doing very well this month. I did give you guys a look at the spreadsheet that I keep um, because I hold myself responsible, even though you may think, "Oh, Joe's just giving out losers left and right." No, I want to give you guys winners, and like Mike Singletary once said, "I want winners," and I know you want that. And we got a great record so far in November, and we're hoping to improve on it. So let's get to it here. Um, bringing the story up first here because it is back when we were the Philly guy speaks. And the reason why I changed it was because he talks Philly sports. No, I don't talk just Philly sports. I talk everything. And there were weeks where I talked about all sports, but either way, um, I think this is a story that needs to be mentioned here, even though it's Philly related. If you remember last year, the Temple Owls men's basketball team um, did not do too well in the regular season, and they almost stole a tournament bid. Well, turns out the feds are investigating a former Temple Owls men's basketball player for alleged point shaming. Now, if this is true, he is going to be in some big trouble. And it's the feds don't mess around, and and we'll get into like some of the things that they've done behind the scenes and stuff like that. The watchdog groups and stuff like that. So we'll get to that. So um, and I'm buffering like crazy on my laptop here. So if you have any problems, let me know. Uh, but for whatever reason, it's not. Um, I've been having problems all week. I'm probably just going to hard boot the internet when I or reset the internet when I'm done here tonight. So, but anyways, federal authorities are investigating whether former Temple men's basketball player Hyzier Miller bet on his own games and manipulated the outcomes of Al's games he played in, according to sources within direct knowledge of the situation. Um, Miller was the leading scorer on the Temple Owls last year. He transferred to Virginia Tech during the offseason, but was dismissed by the Hokies on October 23rd because of the federal investigation and an NCAA inquiry put into Temple games. A regular season Temple game drew attention for unusual betting activity back in March. So, and the one thing is, and we'll get into this a little further in a second with what they do. They, if there's something that comes up that's very strange, they will take it off the board. When there is, uh, especially with what happened with the Temple UAB game last year. So, um, but first, um, Miller never played a game for the Virginia Tech Hokies. The school said at the time of his dismissal was due to circumstances prior to his enrollment at Virginia Tech. So obviously, they tried to keep it on the down low, but can't keep it on the down low when the feds are involved and it hits the news. Um, Miller's attorney, Jason P. Bologna of the law firm Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rooney, gave a statement saying Miller's overcome more adversity in his 22 years than most people face in his lifetime. He will meet and overcome what obstacles lay ahead. Well, I mean, I know some of these kids, they do, especially basketball, because, you look at uh, the socioeconomics and stuff like that, and, we're not going to get into that. Um, but, you know, that may be a little bit overdrawn, but, lawyers like to do that stuff so that they can get their client a little bit of uh, goodwill with the fans and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's probably probably a lot of BS, but lawyers do BS. So when I mean, I'm not loud car came by. Um, so you know, I'm not saying that he didn't have any um, obstacles growing up, but you know that the lawyers are going to bullshit you. That's what they are trained to do. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. But Temple spokesperson Steve Urbanek told ESPN the school is aware of the deeply concerning allegations of sports wagering last season. The university has not received any requests for information from state or federal law enforcement, but will cooperate fully should we be contacted. And the the best thing you can do in an investigation, no matter what it is being upfront. You know, and it's like when we were little kids. You tell us the truth, you won't get punished as bad. But even when we were kids, it'd be like, oh, it's like the world's going to end because we can't go out and play. But this is something totally different, obviously. But um, and Cleveland is up 10-3 right now. They just kicked a field goal. Um, Now the NCAA has declined to comment right now. The FBI said it would neither confirm nor deny the existence of any investigation. And the FBI doesn't have to tell you anything, or that unless the investigation's over, I would think. But now, sportsbooks had alerted U.S. Integrity, a Las Vegas firm that monitors the betting market, for unusual line movement, suspicious wagering patterns on a March 7th regular season game between Temple and UAB. The point spread moved notably that morning of the game, growing from UAB being a 2-point favorite to 8 by early afternoon, before multiple sportsbooks halted betting on the contest. And the thing is, when you get a large shift like that and there's no explainable reason, like for example, let's say Patrick Mahomes all of a sudden can't play because he's got the flu or something, or gets COVID, whatever. Let's let's pretend it's not happening, but let's pretend. Um, what happens? Carson Wentz is now the starter, and that minus 10.5 will probably be about minus 3.5 because Patrick Mahomes, even though he's not had a great season stat wise, is still a quarterback of a 9-1 team. So you are going to see that. That is something, even though it's football versus basketball. If you got suspensions or things like that, even in the and in college basketball, yeah, um, you are going to have that issue. You are going to have those wild point spread swings. Um, Now, a 6-point line movement on a college basketball game is rare, especially late in the season, unless there are injuries or suspensions, bookmakers and bettors said. So, if you got three guys that mysteriously aren't playing because one's injured, one's got a 1-game suspension because he didn't go to class, even though half those kids probably don't go to class anyway. But they will, when something weird starts going on, and especially if you can't pinpoint it, yeah, you're going to flag it. You contact this integrity group, and they are going to investigate it, and they're going to investigate it even well after the fact, because guess what? It's 8 months later, and the news is starting to get out about it. But Thomas Gable, who was the sportsbook director at the Borgata in Atlantic City, told ESPN in March that he began moving the line in the morning after a series of limit bets on UAB were placed. Now, what limit bets basically means is every sports book allows wagers to a certain dollar amount. I mean, even like those, like even like all the prop bets that you have at the Super Bowl. They may say, well, the most you can bet on that prop is $50. It may be it's 100. It may be that they're only going to take college basketball wagers up to $2,500. I don't know what the limits are, but you get the idea. So they're going to limit these wagers so that the integrity of the game, the integrity is on the up and up. And obviously, there was something going on because when everything's going to UAB, even though Temple was a dog shit team last year, you got to wonder, hey, we got to investigate this because, I could see going from 2 to 3, like, oh, no problem. But you're going from 2 to 8 in a couple of hours? No, that ain't right. You have to investigate it. You have to report it. And that's what they're trained to do. So, um, um, so Gable said he expected injury or suspension information involving Temple, but couldn't find any reason behind the rush of the action. The action continued to come in on UAB even after the line moved, Gable said, leading to Borgata to halt betting on the game. So they did the right thing too. They were trying to investigate something while those bets were still coming in, and they reached the breaking point and they said, all right, no more. We're taking this off the board. And you may see, like, if you were to go into the sports book at Borgata or Parks or Harris Philly. By the way, Mike, we need to go to Harris Philly soon. I might have to tell you why on Monday. Um, but anyways, you go into the sports book and you'll see off, or you just might not see that game on the board. So it's like, what's going on here? And sometimes when you're in that sports book and you're talking to the person, sometimes the guy, I mean, if it just happens, the clerk that's there at the counter, he may not know what's going on, or it may be that they give him limited information and say, "Oh, we had to take it off because of something," or we were told to take it off the board. I mean, you confirmed that was taken off, but I don't know if they can give a reason why for it. But in college football and pro football, you know, sometimes they don't put a line on the board because somebody gets injured, like a quarterback. But they do have mechanisms in place where, okay, well, if Patrick Mahomes is hurt, if Patrick Mahomes can't play, that 10.5 point line, at least I think it's 10.5 for KC and Carolina, that 10.5 becomes 4.5, becomes 3.5, becomes 2.5, because there is a difference in the point spread between Patrick Mahomes being the starting quarterback and Carson Wentz. So there is a mechanism that they do that for the most part. So they do end up adjusting that way. But with something like this, you see, a weird amount of money. And I'm sure it's not only the amount of money. I'm sure it's not only just the amount of money I mean, the everything going to UAB, but also the amount of money. Because, even though the American Conference is probably eighth or ninth on the pecking order of conferences, I might be a little high with that ranking, but it is a recognizable conference. It isn't like you have um, what did I give last night? I gave some school that it's like, what, where the hell did you find this, Joe? But it was a winner. The pick with Princeton, one of my three picks tonight isn't going to hit, even though Princeton's trying to get back in the game against Wright State, but they're down 14 right now. It's down. They were down over 20 early in the second half, but you know you do have to they did the right thing. At least those in the sportsbook industry where they did go to the U.S. Integrity Department, the firm U.S. Integrity. Um, Now UAB did win the game 100-72. So even if that game was on the up and up, which I don't think it was, because there were a lot of rumors of it back in March, even when it was just like, oh, they're just looking at this game. So you do have um, there was things going on. They knew it, and so Miller scored 8 points on 3 of 9 shooting and committed 3 turnovers. Now the question is, were the 3 turnovers on the up and up? Were was it and then you start watching the whole game, thinking, that doesn't seem right. You know, especially if you got a guy who's been on the team for a while, or especially that time of the year because it's March and you're about 30 games into your season, and I think you would know the tendencies of your player. But I don't know. But so Temple released a statement on March 8th, the day after the game, saying it was reviewing reports of suspicious betting patterns. Um, Now, the NCAA has contacted people in the gaming industry in recent weeks to inquire about the Temple case. Gambling industry sources told ESPN. It's been investigating Miller and the Temple games for several months. So that's not the only game they were looking at. So, they're looking into this, and I would not be surprised if we hear they were that if there was this guy, just this guy as a lone wolf, that he was point shaving other games as well, or other people are involved. And if other people are involved as well, I mean, you could very well see that coach get fired, which is going to suck because Temple started out pretty good this year. Temple is, I believe, they're 4-1 right now. They don't play tonight. Damn it. By the way, Florida Atlantic, uh, a school that we are partnered with on Bleacher Brothers, they took out Oklahoma State tonight, 86-78 in the Shriners Children's Classic in Charleston. Um, okay, Temple is 3-1. They play Florida State tomorrow in the Basketball Hall of Fame tip-off tournament. So, but Temple did play Sacred Heart, Monmouth, Drexel, and they lost a close one to Boston College. So, you know, it's a totally different season, but you got to wonder sometimes, if there's something fishy going on last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more players involved in this investigation. It may just be the one player, but you could have players and everything. You could have coaches and administration uh, officers going as well with this. So, but um, um, bookmakers noticed that the same customers who bet against Temple in the UAB game have been wagering on other games involving the Owls, often making wagers on the result and the points scored in the first half, according to gambling industry sources. Now, Temple did finish the regular season 12-19, but they went on a run in the AAC tournament before losing the UAB in the championship game. Miller averaged 27.8 points per game during that run. So, Was he, and that's where the experts have to take over, and they have to say, well, he going he going to jail, but you have to see what's going on here. You have to investigate. I guarantee you, this is going to be in the news for a long time here in the Philly market. Um, Now, this isn't the only high-profile case that's happened in the last few months. Um, the Miller case is the latest one. If you remember in April, uh, Toronto, Rap- Toronto Raptor Jonte Porter was banned for disclosing confidential information to bettors. He pleaded guilty to a federal conspiracy crime, admitting that he agreed to withdraw early from games so that conspirators could win bets. Two of his conspirators have also pled guilty and are awaiting sentencing. So you're looking at, you know, and what, those that did not want gambling in sports, yeah, I can understand that. I think there are people that are on the up and up, but every once in a while, you are going to get these people. You are going to get these people that are looking for luxury money on the side, because you know you're you know you're a poor kid in college, and you're not getting the NIL money that other people are or anything like that. And you got to make things, you got to make ends meet. You want to take your girlfriend out for dinner, or you got to get, maybe you got to get the baby Pampers or whatever. Because we're not going to deny that some kids do end up knocking up their girlfriends at a young age. Things happen. But you do have these situations that come up, and but with something like this, this is exactly why we have watchdog groups watching, and well trained, well trained, um, well trained behind the scenes people within the sports book saying, this doesn't seem right. Like, it's like, for example, you look at the bet I had yesterday that I gave you. Yesterday, I gave you the Yale Bulldogs over the Stony Brook Seawolves. Monday, I gave you, or Tuesday, I gave you Drexel over Fairfield. You know, now I would only bet a little bit, but sometimes you wonder, even, why is this clown playing this wager? But it is what it is. Um, so we'll see what's going on with that, and I'll try to keep you updated if I see anything about this. But it looks like that there is something funny going on here. Um, so a lot of us watched the Mike Tyson fight, and just like my buffering on my laptop right now, a lot of us had buffering issues watching the fight, and somebody in Florida has filed a class action lawsuit against Netflix because of the streaming glitches. Now, a Florida man filed a class action lawsuit against Netflix over poor streaming quality that affected millions during the widely viewed boxing match between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Ronald Blue Denton, a resident of Hillsborough County, Florida, he he's alleging that the streaming giant was guilty of breach of contract over the frequent glitches. Mm, I need to see what that breach of contract is, but um, it's just, I don't, I don't know. But anyways, the class action lawsuit was filed in a Florida state court seeking damages of at least $50 million. But you know what's going to happen? You're going to get 50 million people sign up for this, and everybody gets $1. But 16 million Americans were hyped to see Iron Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, versus YouTuber turned prize fighter Jake Paul. What they saw was the baddest streaming on the planet. Mm. It's alleged that many viewers missed portions of the fight due to interruptions. I can attest to that. Netflix customers experienced massive streaming issues and should have known better because that happened before. It was woefully ill prepared, according to the lawsuit. Okay, well, when did it happen before? The thing is, sometimes if you have those streaming issues, those issues are going to be on your end, not necessarily on Netflix's end. But this was definitely something that was on the Netflix end, because when you have a opportunity to do something like this, yeah, you're going to have streaming issues. And I think that sometimes maybe they should have had another big event between the hot dog eating contest between Kobayashi and um, the other guy. Damn it, Joey Chestnut. So yeah, you're going to have that. But the thing is, this is also a good thing for Netflix to have this, because guess what? They got two NFL games this year. They're going to have the game. They're going to have two games on Christmas Day. But I would be, I mean, does this fall under act of God, or I mean, I don't think you can really. I really don't think there's much you can do about it. But um, but do I think do I think that Netflix was ill prepared? Yeah, I didn't think that they were. I guarantee they didn't think they were going to get 60 million people, if that's the number. I guarantee they didn't think that. Mike says that the lawsuit is petty. I agree, but that's the way we are in America. You know. Now what's next? Somebody going to sue because they put money on the fight? I mean, what? I mean, is that the next thing that's going to happen? Um, Citing over 100,000 people complaining online, the lawsuit claims that boxing fans, along with the average American wanting to see a legend in what would be most likely his last fight, were faced with legendary problems, including no access, streaming glitches, and buffering issues. Many viewers took to social media, as I mentioned. Um, According to the website Down Detector, nearly 85,000 viewers logged their problems with outages and streaming leading up to the fight. Bout was scheduled for 8 2-minute rounds as opposed to the normal 3-minute rounds and 10 or 12 rounds for most pro fights. Um, Netflix had said on Saturday that the bout was watched worldwide audience of 60 million people, and peaked at 65 million concurrent streams. Um, 50 million were tuned in for the co-main event between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, which Taylor kept her undisputed super middleweight championship. That was a controversial decision. Um, but it's but also I mentioned yesterday, um, can I sue you for your background? I want it. Well, I can show you how you can do it when you get here on Monday, but I might not need to do it on Monday. I might be able to get that shit done back there. But, you know, well, actually, I don't really need it. People still like Mike Tyson. Yeah. They were hoping for one more fight where Mike Tyson would connect and knock a motherfucker out, but um, it's you know, I don't. I mean, it's a bit petty, but we know from many different lawsuits around the country for many years, it's like, oh, come on, common sense takes over, and well, common sense doesn't matter because you burn yourself in the groin with the hot coffee. Oh, the coffee does not say contents may be hot. That's how that woman won that case many years ago against McDonald's. So, you know, I mean, sometimes you just gotta realize that you screwed up. Now, the one thing I'd like to know, and this there may not be any way of knowing, were there any buffering issues from anyone watching Netflix that was not watching the fight? Mm. Because there had to be people around the world watching Netflix that were not watching that fight. Guarantee you. Granted, it was probably about this amount of people. Guarantee you. But I'd like to know those that were catching up on their shows because they think Mike Tyson's this and Jake Paul's that. No, I don't watch that. Or I'm I'm too Catholic to watch two people beat the shit out of each other or anything like that. I want to know, was there buffering while you were watching a TV show or a movie or anything like that? Because if it wasn't the case, then then you might talk about act of God situations here. But we'll see. I don't necessarily agree with it, but um, oh yeah, there is one thing I do want to mention here. I did not mention this in the scroll here. Um, Apparently, Joel Embiid today said to the media, this is a quote from Tony Jones at The Athletic. Joel Embiid said after Monday's team meeting that whoever leaked this is a real piece of shit. Now, I said something to that effect yet last night's show. Um, so yeah, I did say, somebody had to leak this because a lot of times if you have a team that's having a heart to heart team meeting and there isn't any true malcontents, I would not be surprised. You know, I mean, well, let me before I get to the I wouldn't be real surprised part. I think that when you look at everything, and if you hear a heart to heart, a team meetings, a team thing after the game, you are going to have that discussion, and more times than not, you're not going to get full details unless somebody gives the okay to mention something, especially when somebody calls out Joel Embiid. Now, my personal opinion, and I said it on a Facebook article today, I said it on WIP's post or I think I said it somewhere else as well. I would not be surprised if Joel Embiid is the guy who leaked this information out. I would not be surprised at all. That's just me. You know, we don't know who leaked it, but who is the guy? And Mike says, good question. Now, even though I don't like to bring up rumors, so to speak, but one of the rumors that were floated, I think I shared it on my Facebook page. If not, it was on my X or whatever. Apparently, Embiid wanted Jimmy Butler back here, but instead he got Paul George. We don't know how true that is. I will just say, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, going to, I'm not going to say that's true. I'm not going to say it's false. I'll just say, hey, somebody said this. Kind of like somebody said, all of a sudden it's a rumor because I'm speculating here, even though I'm trying to preface everything as much as possible, so that this this no name streamer named Joe Quills said that Joel Embiid leaked it. No, here's the full video. This is exactly what I said. And if you don't like what I said here, and you're going to not retract your statement that I was the one that ended up ended up if you end up posting that stuff that's only a part snippet, yeah, I'll lawyer up if I have to. Now, granted, I won't win, but I mean, I'm not afraid of telling you guys what I think, but I'm going to preface everything because guess what? The way we are as a society, and we'll get into another story here in a couple of minutes about society and how things may be for the next few years. Um, you know, you want to cut a video down and only show the one part that really will get the media involved. No, you're gonna go back to the beginning and you're gonna hear the full thing I said. Because guess what? It isn't Joel Embiid leaked the information. It's I would not be surprised if, because you know what? We don't know who it was. At least we don't know right now. And even if the media guy, whether it's the guy from the Athletic or somebody else who was also there, we don't know who it was. And also the media, even though I believe that this is the type of thing that Trump's going after, you know, the media does have a right to protect their sources. So So it wouldn't surprise me with everything that's been going on over the last few weeks, especially, that it wouldn't be surprised if it was Embiid. I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody else, but then again, when you're 2-12, you got to wonder: is it the players? Is it Embiid? Is it this? Is it that? Is it just dumb luck that the team is playing like total shit? Is it the coach? Is it this? Is it that? Who knows? But whatever it is, they got to fix things up. And if you're going to start leaking shit like that, well, it might be time that you have to leave. So, but we'll see. But some people are saying that the Sixers should go into full tank mode. Well, I don't know, and we definitely, as it's snowing harder and harder in Cleveland, we are getting the full snow globe effect right now. It's even for grass. It is, well, it's 31 degrees right now, and but you may I mean, I don't know how their field is. I don't know if their field is heated, so they may not get much in the way of accumulation here. But remember, they're only a few miles off the lake, so you may see some lake effect snow going on here. So, but either way, um, keep an eye on the keep an eye on that as well. That wasn't planned, but that was something that came up that uh, somebody commented to. So, but anyways, um, I mentioned this story here. One thing that is going on, um, the media takes a quote and they run like Smarty Jones. I would say insane, or Usain and his brother Insane Bolt, but we'll go with that. Local tie. But I did mention the about Caitlin Clark here. This was a story that I had for yesterday, but I didn't work it in. Last night we started late because I started late so that Chef Tom and Frank um, could do their show at 9 o'clock. And that's the thing. We're team players here, and I don't have a problem with that. I didn't have many stories to talk about anyway, but I am going to send a message to those guys because I might have them on the show next Wednesday night, the last show before the weekend. So yeah, so as I just leaked out, even though it wasn't breaking news or anything, there's no show on Thanksgiving night. So just have some fun with the friends, with the family, all that stuff. And Princeton lost 80-62 to the right state Raiders. So my winning streak on rebet is over, but I do have one more college game tonight. I got um, New Mexico -24 over Grambling. So we'll see what happens with that later tonight. So um, so there's a new women's basketball league that's coming up here, and basically, I will say, think of it as Ice Cube's Big Three, but with younger players, better players, players that aren't washed up or never have been, as it's a way for the WNBA players to stay home, to stay home and play basketball here as opposed to abroad. And one person that apparently will not be playing in it is Caitlin Clark. And personally, you know, I don't, you know, I don't. I mean, I wouldn't care either way if she is or she isn't there. But, um, but I mean, she's doing um, a lot more than just basketball. So, and in a way, it is good that she does get a break, even though the break is a lot longer with the WNBA than it would be uh, for the NBA. But also remember with Caitlin Clark, she played 2 full seasons back to back with only like a 2 week break between the start of the WNBA season and the end of the college season, and then went from um, and then had a couple of weeks off for the Olympic break, which actually helped her. But she did have different things. She basically had 2 seasons back to back, and with the WNBA, you are going to have you are going to have a um, you're going to have rookies that may not do well until their second year because guess what? they're tired because they just played a 35 to 40 game season. And now you're asking them to play another 40 to 45 right after it. I mean, some people will say, well, they're 22, 23 years old. Yeah, but there is the mental drag as well. But uh, Indiana star, Indiana Fever star guard Caitlin Clark will not play in this new 3-on-3 league in its inaugural season. So it's with the knowledge told ESPN on Wednesday. Unrivaled announced the players who will be playing on its 6 teams on Wednesday, but there are still two wildcard spots to be filled to complete the 36 players who will make up the league. Uh, all Unrivaled all Unrivaled's games will be played in Miami beginning January 17th. So that's coming up in 2 months. Um, so, we'll see how the rules go with that. I think, probably keep up with the FIBA rules, FIBA, because they have their set of rules versus the Big Three's rules. Big Three rules are a little bit different, but um, but she is going to be busy with events during the WNBA off season. Um, Last week, Clark took part in a pro-am for the Annika LPGA tournament, Annika Sorenstam's tournament. It was announced on Tuesday that she will be guest speaker for a women's sports award luncheon in Kansas City on February 4th at the T-Mobile Center. It's one of the largest events in the country celebrating National Girls and Women in Sports Day. And I don't think that she needs to explain. I mean, yeah, if she was in that league, you would get more eyes to it. But and this article does seem a little bit short as well. And I'm sure I'm sure one author may have different things that they're mentioning as well. But you know, things, you know, I don't think that she's totally ruling it out. I just think that maybe she just feels like she needs to take a break or something. Who knows? I mean, I'm on the outside looking in here. I'm not going to lie to you. I am an outsider. I'm going to try to put common sense into this, and maybe my common sense just doesn't add up to what really is the reason. And whatever the reason is, so be it. That's how I feel. But but I might actually watch this because of the fact that you know I really want to see how the rules are played versus how we played as a kid, even with 3-on-3 and stuff like that. And also, what about in general the rules? Because I just think that um, I just think it's really um, I think it'd be really a fun league to have, and I think that you know I criticize Ice Cube all the time about his big three because it just seems like that they have has-beens and never will be's playing in it. Where if you had younger players that may not be necessarily good enough to play in the league, you can actually get guys into this league that actually could be looking at a job in the NBA down the road. Because who knows? But but with this league, I think 36 players are all going to be from the WNBA. So, but we'll see. It was an interesting article that I saw, and did want to mention that to you guys. So, um, now rumor is Caitlin Clark may be part of the pregame, uh, the um, the skills challenges that they have next year at the All Star Game in San Francisco. Um, but they are changing the format this year, and I'm not sure I really like it. Um, Other than the fact it'll be a quick 2 rounds of tournament action, but I mean, but uh, Sorry, I had the text from AJ there. Um, so what they're going to have is they're going to have a 14 tournament style format for the 2025 All Star Game. It's expected to have two semifinal games played up to 40 points, with the winners playing in a final match up to 25. Why not 40 and 40? But whatever. But it's a first of a kind event. Is expected to serve as a quick burst competition that resembles pickup games where the winner moves to the championship round in single elimination play. So they're going to have 24 All Stars. It's going to be 3 teams of 8, and you're also going to have the winning team from the Rising Stars game. So they're going to be playing in that. Now, sources told ESPN last week the NBA was in serious discussions to have 3 All Star teams of 8 play each other, and the Rising Star team winner would take part in this All Star game tournament. The 4 teams would face each other in matchups. For instance, teams 1 and 3 would play teams 2 and 4. Winners would play to a final. Um, they discussed a new format on Friday with the competition committee, consisting of governors, team executive, players, coaches, and union personnel. Um, and they've been discussing this for a while. Um, but one of the things that they're saying here, if you remember, Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu participated in the first NBA versus WNBA 3-point challenge. There are strong conversations to return in a variation of the shootout, which could include other NBA and WNBA players such as Klay Thompson, the Mavericks, and Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. So we could be looking at that or an expansion of that. Um, um, Now, Adam Silver said after last year's 211 to 186 game that he publicly and privately admitted the competition level has slipped drastically and there might not be a fix. I think there was a fix that they went away from. If you remember, I think it was for 2 years, they had the Elam ending, where basically once you get to a certain point of the game, it's like, okay, well, at this point, the winning team has to score 20 points. And the only issue with that is if a team is down 30 points, the team that's down 30 has to score 50 before the other team scores 20. And the one thing we did see with that Elam ending format game was that they did have you did have the 2 teams playing defense. Now, granted, it was only for a part of the game, but that's what they were doing. But you got to realize that maybe you know, and I think Adam Silver wants to make the All Star game work. He does want to, because it's in contracts. You have these bonuses and everything like that. You got to do something. But um, Silver had said we were looking at other formats. I think there's no doubt the players were disappointed as well with last year's game. When we want to do a better job providing competition and entertainment for our fans, um, and they were looking for a not a traditional format. Now, granted, the NHL does have a similar format for their All Star game, where they have four All Star teams, which are the 4 divisions, and they play to a final. Um, I don't know. I think the NBA reached its breaking point with its All Star game, and they said, "All right, we got to do something if we're going to keep this thing." And they do have the All Star game for coming years. And by the way, I do want to say this to the NBA and to the NHL, even though you can argue, you can argue that maybe the Sixers and the Flyers didn't want to host the All Star game. The fact that 2026 is the 250th anniversary of America, the fact that you don't have those the NHL and NBA All-Star games in Philly is a disgrace, in my opinion. It should be in Philly. That was the case in 1976. It should have been the case in 2026. At least MLB did the right thing. Now, granted, they announced that All-Star game for 2026 years in advance, and that was because they knew that David Montgomery was in his last days, and they said, well, if he's going to pass away, let him pass away knowing that the Phillies were going to have the All-Star game in 2026, which is the case. So, and that was the goal of the Phillies when they got the new stadium open. They didn't want the All-Star game right away. They wanted it in 2026, even though they had just had it in 1996, I believe. So they had it in 76. They had it in around 96 that time. But since they had the new stadium, a lot of times you get a new stadium, you get an All-Star game, and they just said, no, 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 wait a second, we're not going to do it just yet. We do have this thing, whatever the 250th anniversary is called. Like I know 150 is the Sesquicentennial. Is it the Bicentennial? I don't know, but um, it is. I just think all the All-Star games should have been here, but hey, nothing I can do about that. I did see this story, and when I saw this story, I'm like, yeah, be prepared for a lot of stories like this over the next 4 years the because of the election and everything else. And I'm not going to get into Trump versus Biden, Trump versus Harris, any of that shit, because the people spoke. We just got to deal with it for the next 4 years, whether you're pro Trump or anti Trump. So this isn't about that. This is about, I would not be surprised if we see a ton more stories like this in the next 4 years. That is because Yuki Tsunoda, he is, wait, I know what you're saying, Mike. I know what you're saying. Hold on. I know what you're saying. You're thinking this, right, Mike?
Who the fuck is that guy?
And I know everybody that's watching, I know you were thinking that as well, unless you're familiar with Formula One racing. And I know I'm mispronouncing that last name. So, just to let you guys know, I know, and maybe even the Formula One fans are probably saying the same thing.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But anyways, the Japanese Formula One driver said he was interrogated in his pajamas for several hours by U.S. border control officials, before being let into the country for Saturday's Las Vegas Grand Prix. And Mike agrees with me that he was saying this when I mentioned the name. But it's fitting because I hit that one because I screwed up. But I know Mike is saying this, but probably without the F word.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But he is a racer for the Red Bull owned RB. He told reporters he had no issues on his two previous visits this year for races in Austin and Miami. So that leads me to believe, even though I'm not trying to start shit here, all I'm saying is do not be surprised if we hear more stories about this in the next 4 years. He said, luckily they let me in after a couple of discussions. Well, a lot of discussions, actually. I nearly got sent back home. So, yeah. Sonoda said that he had been traveling with his physio, whatever that is. I guess maybe some sort of a trainer or some shit. I don't know. but he had to go through immigration on his own and was then taken to a room for questioning despite having the correct paperwork. So if he had the correct paperwork, then why are they giving him the shit? I mean, are they just trying to get ready for January? Are they getting ready for January 20th when Trump takes over? I don't know. But, I just think that, I'm being objective about this. So if you're going to turn this into, oh, we need to close the borders and shit like that, this isn't what it's about. This is just spitting the facts here and giving some opinion without trying to get too political. I'm just stating the fact that stating my opinion that I will not be surprised if we see a lot more of this shit over the next 4 years. You know, and even me, who does lean left on many political issues, but not all. The one thing I will tell you is, you know, if you were to say, don't you think there's a issue on the border? I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there is a problem with the border. I don't believe everything. I don't believe everything the Democrats are doing. I don't believe everything the Republicans are doing. With a lot of the things that I believe in, we have to get to a happy medium. But right now, if you believe everything that Trump says, and yeah, we got to go extra hard at this, okay. But I just think that also um, you can also deport without making it a major news story. But that's just me. Uh, but but the Las Vegas race will be this weekend. It comes after a 3-week break following a round in Brazil. And Sonoda had flown in ahead of the team for a promotional event. So, but and he said, the driver said, I was wearing pajamas, so maybe I didn't look like an F1 driver. At least he has a good sense of humor about this. But he did do the right thing. Did have all the paperwork, and I'm sure this is going to be a lesson for anyone that I'm sure this is going to be a lesson for everybody who's going to be for every athlete that's going to be in this country, because I just feel like they're not going to give a shit if you're Novak Djokovic, um, Luka Doncic, um, Shohei Ohtani, who won the MVP tonight. You know, they're not going to care who you are. They're just going to say, "Show me your shit. Show me your show me your documents. Blah blah blah," and go from there. They're going to do that, and I'm sure there's going to be some athletes. I'm sure there's going to be some athletes who are going to tell you, and they're going to make news out of this, and they're going to make it worse than what it is. Now, do I think that this driver made it worse than what it is? No, but there's always one person who's going to make things sound much worse than they are. But I won't deny you that I will not be surprised if we see many more stories like this over the next 4 years. I really don't. I really think it's going to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if now I was hearing now how true it is. I don't know. And why is Cleveland going for two when it's 16-6? Now I know 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, as we're pretty much done with that topic anyway. But one question I have here, other than to make it that they have to score 2 touchdowns to win. Okay. Other than that, I mean, that's a gamble that paid off, but, 8 plus 3 is 11. You're going to have to score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. I would have taken the one there, but I should keep my mind open with Kevin Stefanski, even though he's another one of those analytical guys. Even though he did go to prep, another prep guy in the NFL. But I would have gone for one there. But Mike knows this all too well. I know this all too well. We sit here many a Sunday or a Monday where we just wonder what the fuck is Nick Sirianni doing? Go for the field goal. Well, last week he went for the field goal, and Jake Elliott, because he hadn't been kicking many field goals this year, he missed 2 of them. At least that's my excuse to that. But that is but that's my story, and I'm probably wrong. But and Mike agrees with me to some extent. Travis Hunter, the 2-way star for Colorado, and I hear he's a 2-star. No, I won't say that. He's for sure entering the NFL draft at the end of the season. He's projected as a top pick. He said he will be turning pro after the Buffalo season. He's a favorite to win the Heisman. Um, um, he was widely expected to forego his senior season and enter the draft. But um, Mel Kiper has him as the number 1 prospect in the draft. Um, a variation of the double doink. Okay. But he said he would like to play both positions, both defensive back and wide receiver in the NFL. He's increased his production as a wide receiver. He also didn't get hurt this year because he was hurt a couple times last year. Hunter said it's never been done. I understand it's high risk. Teams don't want their top pick to go down too early, and I know they're going to want me to be in a couple packages, but I believe I can do it. Nobody has stopped me from doing it thus far. But also, what you don't realize is what's ahead of you in terms of the speed of the game itself. Think of it as, you know, you're driving 15 miles an hour, then you drive 30, then you drive 45, then you drive about 75. You're like, oh shit, that's what it's like. But um, now I understand Hunter's thinking here. I like when people tell me I can't do it. Well, you got to realize that a lot of people that have been in the NFL have been in a long time, but I think they will give thought to it, but I don't think they're going to do that for 17 games. I think after a while you're going to realize maybe it's not a smart idea. But now Shedeur Sanders, he's going to go pro after this year. I think he's a senior though. It doesn't say on here, and I don't feel like looking it up. But Sanders is projected to be the number 7 overall prospect and top quarterback in the draft. So who knows if, because the Giants are tanking, or so we think, even though you got Tommy DeVito at quarterback now, maybe he gets the number 2, and maybe the Giants end up number 1 and they get a chance to pick up Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, of course, with the ego. Not saying that's a bad thing. I felt like I was the best quarterback in last year's draft as well. Um, and Sanders, along with Hunter, started their careers at Jackson State, where Dion was, and they all went to Colorado. So, but that's something that came up here today, and I think that um, they will get to the they will probably be on different teams this year, and I'm sure Dallas will do everything they can, and you know you got two teams in the NFC tanking, and they play each other on Thanksgiving. Um, and personally, and I'm probably going to say this a lot between now and next Thursday. I personally feel what the NFL needs to do is they need to get away from Detroit always having the 12:30 game, Dallas always having the 4:30 game, and then having the 8:30 game being whatever. If Detroit and whoever is the best game of the three, make that the 8 o'clock game. Oh shit! There goes the neighborhood. SJ's here. I mean, hi SJ. But but seriously, I just feel like what the NFL needs to do, you know, get away from the tradition of Detroit always at 12:30, Dallas at 4, 4:15, 4:30, because that's moved back to 4:30 over the last couple of years, and go to 8:30. You know, whoever's the best game 8:30. If if that third game, which is two random teams, if they're the worst game of the three, make it the 12:30 game. I don't care. And uh, I'm slightly hanging to the right tonight. Oh wait, oops, I shouldn't have said that. Not seriously, but I'm doing good. My usual self. Um, got to pick my weekly vacations. Um, don't tell Mike, but I got numerous. I got my weekly vacations in, and well, Mike knows about Kentucky Derby Week. Mike knows about that, but he doesn't know about. Well, he knows I always take my birthday week off, so that's a given. Um, so I have that week off. I'm not going to mention the other three. So meh. Mike will find out on Monday when he gets here. Um, Now, the one thing I will say, because I even have a 99.99% sure, but but I do have a Christmas week vacation now. I'm not saying Christmas Day, but you know, uh, I will say this: if somebody says GTFO out of Philly for a few days, wink, wink, I could have my arm twisted. Wink, wink. And do it in such a way that it won't affect your holiday too much, if you know what I mean. See that? She already has the restraining order against me, Mike. I can't be within 25 miles of her. Oh well. and she's dead. But anyways, I got this one last story here, and Pittsburgh scored a touchdown there. It's 18-12. SJ, if you're watching a football game, why did Cleveland go for two, other than analytics? Because it isn't like they have 18 inches of snow on the ground. She's probably not watching the football game. She's probably watching um, Golden Girls or MASH or something like that after that card game she had yesterday, or Leave It to Beaver. I Love Lucy. Back in my day, we watched I Love Lucy, and we all loved Lucy. We didn't realize she had red hair, but you know. But anyways, one last story here before we get to. Um, hey, like I said, I am a fountain of useless information. Whenever we have a single game at 425 on one particular network, you know I am going to bring out my mental Rolodex of old shows that used to be on that network. Like, for example, on Thursday, if whatever team is up big, and I guarantee you that I'm going to say that Fox wishes that they could preempt the game for Herman's Head, um, the Tracy Ullman Show, Married with Children, all those shows from the beginning of Fox. Yeah, I need help. Mike thinks I'm beyond help, but that you might think the same way. That may be why you have me not allowed to come within 25 miles of you, but we'll see. Anyways, now one thing I did see here today, um, the NFL issued a security alert to teams and the players union on Thursday following recent burglaries involving the homes of Chief stars Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. Now, I mean, the thing is, even with some of the things that he did say here, think about it. I will give you a hint, okay? Two of the letters that he's really referencing, it's a four-letter word. I guarantee, I can tell you right now, two of those four letters are in the word information. Anyways, now they did say on here, it's a memo obtained by the AP. Um, The league said homes of professional athletes across multiple sports have become increasingly targeted for burglaries by organized and skilled groups. And you know what? And they say here later on the article about posting on social media. Well, guess what? Even if you do not post to social media, guess what? They know you're going to be out of town. I mean, look at Major League Baseball for example. That schedule comes out in late July, early August. Up to 14 months in advance, unless, of course, a player gets traded or they become a free agent. You know that Bryce Harper is out of town a certain period of time. And if you know where he lives, you could, you know, but, you do have ways of doing things. You have ways of securing the property and all that. Uh, no. No, SJ is my bestie, damn it. Oh, you mean me, sorry. But anyways, so the NFL and other professional sports league received a briefing from the FBI last Friday. And you got to realize that, and they talk about um social media and stuff like that. And I even said it with some of the players, like Walker Bueller got his watch stolen at Santa Anita Park back in the end of September, beginning of October. You know, sometimes it's okay to blend in, especially if you're Walker Bueller, where you're not 6'10" or whatever. You'll be recognized by some people, but if you blend in, you're not going to get a watch stolen from you, that sort of thing. But um, now some of the burglary. Well, first of all, law enforcement officials have noted these groups target homes on days where the athletes have games. And part of that is because of the fact that, we know months ahead of time that, hey, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Daniel Jones, but I think Daniel Jones, you just egg his house because he sucks. But you get the idea. When they're going to be out of town or at the stadium, because guess what? They got a game to play. And you pull up the team's website, or you go to bleacherbrothers.com. You see the schedule and you see, um, all right, yeah, Tim Boyle. Yeah, he's another guy that sucks ass. I could probably lead the Giants to a win over him, but I'm not going to because my arm is shit. But um, but you know, players are told to take precautions and implement home security measures. Just don't do what I do with the neighbor next door. Um, she talked to him at his golf course in August, and that's the other reason why I got a 25-mile restraining order. And Pittsburgh has taken the lead. So, but seriously, back to this here. Um, like the one thing I told Mike the other night when we had the fire alarm issue. Um, the neighbor down the hall from me in 214, she has a ring camera type device on her phone, whether it's a ring camera or whatever, I don't know. So, I told her, there's no fire, but I'm going outside because I can't stand the noise, but just letting you know what's going on. So I told Mike when I got back, and I said it when we then went outside. I said, that neighbor down the hall, because the stairs are right here, I told Mike, I said, I'm surprised that she didn't say to me, "Oh, you're the motherfucker who keeps farting on my Ring doorbell." Because I told Mike how you can go onto YouTube, you can go onto Insta stories, Facebook Reels, whatever, and you can find these videos where somebody farts in front of a Ring camera. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes you don't realize it's there. It's like, ah, shit, man, they just caught me farting. But those sort of things happen. You know, but that's what happened last week, and I'm sure there's Ring devices and other things as well. Um, Now, they the burglars have conducted extensive surveillance on targets, including attempted home deliveries and posing as grounds maintenance or joggers in the neighborhood, which sounds like people would do even in real life if you were John Q. Public. You know what I mean? I mean, Like for example, and hopefully apartment management doesn't see this video. The one thing I said a couple of times in the past was the neighbors upstairs, they drive me nuts every once in a while. And like clockwork between 6 and 7 every day, it seems, all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Thunderhooves is home. She's like 4'8" and about 75 pounds, but she's got the heaviest feet that a 75-pound woman could have. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like, all right, you're home, okay? Knock the fuck off. But so like the one thing is they improved the security cameras here in the around the building. I didn't show Mike the security cameras or anything, so but you know he can do whatever. But like when we took a little walk around the building, I showed him like different things in the building, and this other way he can get in if he moves in and moves into my building. You know, different things. But um, but there's all these security cameras, and the neighbors annoy me so much that when we had our first snowfall last year, I'm thinking, hmm, snowball, third floor window, whoosh. Then I realized, 50 years old, arm trouble. Well, not as bad as I have now, but 50 years old, probably blow out my elbow. You know, try to explain to management, even though there's some blurry white dude throwing a snowball at the building, you know, why he all of a sudden has his arm wrapped up after having Tommy John surgery. Try to explain that to them. You know, you're not going to win. And knowing my luck, because like I told Mike, like when I told him, don't be like I said Monday night, don't be surprised if I get arrested because I'm pissing into the sewer because god damn it, the shitter's full. It's just that time of the year, but you get the idea. Um, but seriously, you know, they're casing things out, because if they're going to burglarize your home, they're going to want to know what's going on. They're not just going to go in there and next thing you know, you have everything not go your way. They're planning for months and months and months. And at least with my apartment, it's near impossible to get in here. So, but um, now they burglars entered through side doors, via balconies, through second floor windows. They targeted homes in secluded areas and focused on master bedrooms and closet areas. Uh, Not sure what that's supposed to be, but other than to be right back. But um, you know, I hope her mind's not in the gutter. Because in my case, if my mind wasn't in the gutter, I'd be homeless. That's the quote I was looking for earlier tonight. If my mind isn't in the gutter, I'd be homeless. But um, players are warned to avoid updating any social media with check-ins. Oh, ice cream. Okay. I don't know. You may have this second career that you didn't even tell me about, or a third career that you didn't tell me about. I don't know. You know, what's that site? Only SJ? She is going to kick my ass if she allows me in that 25-mile perimeter. Let me tell you, Mike. She's going to get up on that stool. She's going to get up on that stool, and she is going to give me one. Wham! Um, so players are warned to avoid updating any social media with check-ins or daily activities until the end of the day. Posting expensive items on social media is discouraged. I would also say wearing expensive shit shouldn't be worn at all. I think that's just common sense, but that's just me. Um, Not sure if that's about her new career or, but whatever it is, we'll just leave it as it is. We'll just kind of ignore it. But um, so Mahomes and Kelsey's homes were broken in within days of each other last month. They happened just before the day of Kansas City's 26-13 win over the Saints on October 7th, uh, where Kelsey's girlfriend Taylor Swift watched from the stands. No injuries were reported in either case, but I'm sure items were lost. And, you know, and here's the thing. Occasionally I post something on Facebook, and sometimes shits get tagged and you know what? If if I don't let too many people know what's going on, I think that you can pretty much narrow down who knows your shit. That's why part of the reason why my Facebook isn't as open. Part of it is because redacted company may look at my Facebook page if it was totally open. He says, well, they start going, what does this exactly mean? Well, not what you think it is, but like I said, with redacted company, you just make sure you keep your nose clean for the most part and protect that nest egg. At least I call it a nest egg. I don't know what you would consider a nest egg versus what I do, but in this case, it's just a general term, not a real big term. But I just think that you know common sense needs to take over. And I know celebrities, but you know, like some pictures are going to leak, and Jameis is Jameis there. Um, yeah, and SJ says they don't have security with all the millions. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know, but I just think also that sometimes even with security, they find a way around because they're just not randomly going there and saying, "Oh, holy shit, this is so and so's house." They know it's so and so's house. They know it's Mahomes. They know it's Kelsey. They know it's Andy Reid. They know it's Harrison Butker. They know it's Caleb Williams. They know it's this guy. They know it's that guy. And Mike says common sense is in short supply nowadays. Oh, I know. But you just and there's going to be stuff that people tag you in. And it's like, I didn't want to share that. But eventually I will. But I also know that I'm fairly confident that nothing's going to happen with my apartment because I just think that I mean it is pretty much like Fort Knox in here. It's hard to get in here, and you know if you were at the call box and you called up to my apartment and I'm not here and I'm not expecting a package or anything, I think that you know oh if you're buzzing in. Like, for example, a couple of times, I think it was just maybe somebody drunk and they just hit a wrong number and it ended up going to my phone. Oh, fuck that. I ain't letting you in because I don't know who the fuck it is. And, I know it's not SJ coming down here at 3 o'clock in the morning, but, I mean, but I will say this during the day, most days, Today, I was not able to. Now, it may have been because it was too damn cold today, but the I showed Mike the one door that he could get into the building during the day. But even so, you have to there's a lot that you have to figure out within the building. So it's not like you're just going to just get into my apartment. So, but I know what you're saying with you would think. I know what you're saying there. But, you know, it's not as easy as you think, but, I understand what you're saying as well. But so Pittsburgh's up 19-18. They got the ball right now. Jameis Winston ended up being Jameis Winston threw an interception there. So let's get to the Philly Fade here. And like I said last night, we went 6-2 last weekend. Took a little bit of a bump tonight. Armed security 24/7. Well, that's not true at the Def Leppard compound because one of the guys only has one arm. Oh wait, the drummer only has one. Okay. Our leaf blowing. I don't know. Anyway, so here we are. It's the Philly Fade, and got games for you here, and I'm gonna update my sheet of paper here. Um, we did go 6-2 last week, so we're still down 10 units, but we made up a lot of ground so far this month. And who knows, maybe we get a little bit of a break here, and we do get Pork Chop is here. Welcome in. Um, so we still got a chance here with Cleveland. I know SJ has the points because I saw her thing on um, Juice Reel today. Um, so where's my sheet? Here it is. And I'm pulling up her Discord as well because I post my picks on SJ's Discord. And part of the reason why is this sheet of paper. Um, this sheet of paper that let me go back to me here. This sheet of paper that I have my picks down for this weekend, this will get buried under sheets of paper. I won't find it until 3 weeks later, or it'll be in the trash. So part of the mechanism with everything I do with these picks since I brought them back, not only promote my picks in her betting thing, it's also because I do take my picks somewhat seriously and seriously enough to the point that I do admit when I have good weeks and bad weeks. So it's not um, it's not something I take lightly. And I will hold myself accountable. That's the phrase I was looking for. That was the phrase that pays. So here we go. Um, so got a big weekend of college football. Got some rivalry games this weekend. We got some conferences that are going to decide who plays in the conference championship games and stuff like that here. Um, I'm almost tempted to play UTSA, but both teams are shit, so I'm not going to. So let's begin with a Saturday game. And of course, nobody likes that Fox big noon kickoff. Penn State didn't like it. Ohio State apparently doesn't like it. But Ohio State takes on Indiana. And the one thing is, I'm sure everybody is saying, oh, we got to, Ohio State's going to get revenge here. Indiana hasn't played anybody. Well, the one thing I'm going to tell you here is Ohio State plays Michigan next week. So this, even though Michigan isn't what they were last year, they may be looking ahead. Now, granted, these are college kids. They probably will be dead set focused on this game. But I think this is going to be a closer game than what Vegas is saying, what DraftKings is saying, whatever sportsbook you use is saying. Do I think Ohio State wins? Yeah, but I'm going to take Indiana here plus 10.5 here. I think Indiana does keep it close. Um, so let's go with Indiana with my first pick at plus 10.5 at minus 112. Second, we have a rivalry renewal here with the Big 12, with Arizona State going to the Big 12 this year. They are taking on BYU, and I have to find this game here. Um, and also, just for shits and giggles, even though I have, well, no, I'm not going to. I don't want to play the 115 there. BYU takes on Arizona State. Um, the Storm and Mormons lost to Kansas last time out. Arizona State beat Kansas earlier in the year. Matter of fact, I think that was one of my picks early in the year. But whether it was or wasn't, Arizona State's a 3-point favorite, which basically means that it is a game where it's a toss up. And I think BYU got real lucky over the last couple of weeks. They got a lucky call against Utah. Arizona State is a sneaky good team here. I'm going to take Arizona State here to upset BYU. BYU's chances at a playoff will be pretty much done after this. So I'm going to take Arizona State -3. I don't like the minus 115, but in regards to the Philly fade, fuck it. So Arizona State -3 here at minus 115. Then Arizona Army takes on Notre Dame. Now this game is at Yankee Stadium, not Notre Dame. It's one of the Stadium Series games that they have every year. Notre Dame's a 14-point favorite. Everybody's been on Army all year. I know AJ's been on them a lot. You try to keep them under the radar, but Army kept winning games here. Once again, do I think Army wins this game? Probably not. But I think Army can keep it close. And if Army wins this game outright, they may end up being the group of 5 team. Because remember, Boise State will probably have to play UNLV in the Mountain West. So remember that. And UNLV hasn't slowed down after they ended up with their third string quarterback. But Army's a 14-point dog. Army plays that weird offense. But Notre Dame does play Army every year though, basically. But I'm still going to take Army. Give me the 14 points. Do they win? Probably not, but that's why you have a 14-point spread to pick here. So my college picks here: Indiana plus 10.5 over Ohio State. I think Indiana State covers, but they don't cover. They don't win the game outright. Arizona wins by more than 3 over Arizona State. That's at minus 115, and Army plus 14 at minus 108. So let me go here. Okay, so then we go to the National Football League, and the one thing you know about me is we will get when we get to the end of this. I do pick the Eagles game, whether you like it or not. It's just a thing that I do no matter what. And I'm not afraid of picking against the Eagles. Ask Mike. Um, but anyways, here we go. Here we go. Hut hut. Um, First game. Let's go with the first game on the board here. Indy hosts Detroit, and Detroit, possible they look ahead to next Thursday or this Thursday, Thanksgiving. Maybe not. I think Indy is a okay team. I think that this could be a bit of a, well, not your classic trap game, but I think Indy can keep it close. Now they're not playing Jacksonville or Tennessee where they scored at least 50 points, so we know that Indianapolis does give a shit about their team, and I think Detroit wins this game, but I think that Indy does keep this close. So I'm going to take Indy minus 7.5, minus 115. Now, granted, if I was in a sports book right now, I wouldn't play this, or I would play around with the point spread. But that 115 I normally wouldn't play, but shits and giggles of this, just for the shits and giggles of this pick, screw it. Minus 115 for a 7.5 point spread. Next, we are going to go to Denver and the Raiders. Raiders are ass. Denver, most people thought that Denver would be ass as well. I actually told you at the beginning of the year that Denver would get a playoff berth, and they're getting there. They have to win probably 3 or 4 more games. This is one of those games that they need to win, should win, and will win. Vegas is the Raiders of old that are total ass. Denver wins this. They win it by at least 10. Give me the Denver Broncos -6 at minus 110. Um, Chargers host the Ravens in Hardball Bowl. I believe this is number 3 because you had the Super Bowl and you had a regular season rematch. Um, but Ravens come in here after that tough loss to Pittsburgh. Um, Truthfully, I feel like the Chargers are really getting good here, and you're starting to see the Jim Harbaugh way. And I really think that the Chargers will find a way to win this. I think that they can contain uh, um, Lamar Jackson here, and truthfully, you're going to see. You may see some of the same stuff that Pittsburgh did here. And you know what? I'm taking the Chargers money line. I think they win this outright. So plus 120 on the money line for the LA Chargers. And oh god, let me see something here. I want to play with this line a little bit. Now, I know just for just for shits and giggles, you know where I'm going with this because I'm saying, oh, let me play with the line a little bit here. Um, uh, uh, and SJ's probably saying, no, go over to here, go over to here. Um, and I don't recommend this when your team's a favorite here, but I don't want to pay 22% on my VIG. I definitely don't want to do that. But the line was at 3. I'm trying. I'm trying. Hold on. No, I can't do it. I'm not playing. I'm not paying at minus 425. I just couldn't get it fast enough. That's all. My bad. I just couldn't get there quick enough. But that's fine. Besides, I knew I had no money in that account. So, but anyways, that's a we'll let SJ bask in the victory. But let's get back here. Let's see. I had Indy. I had Denver. I had the Chargers. Whoops, not there. There. And with the Eagles. Now, this is not something I recommend doing. I'm going to bump this up to 3 once I get to it here. No, not that. I'm going to bump it to 3. I'm going to take the Eagles on an alternate spread here, -3. I mean, it was 3 for a while there, but I'm going with the Eagles here to win in LA. -3 at -104. The difference between 2.5 and 3 isn't that big of a deal to me. So, I will gladly take. I'll gladly take the half a point to make it -104. So my picks. So my picks are Indy +7.5 at -115, Denver -6 at -110, Chargers money line +120, and Fly Eagles Fly. They win on Sunday night -3. The train continues to roll along, and that's the final trip that they make on a plane between now and now and the playoffs. Maybe possibly they don't have another flight until they go to New Orleans for the Super Bowl, but you know, or to the off season, one or the other. But we'll see. But um, I'll just let you guys know now. Next week will be a 3-night show, 3-show week, I should say. Um, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Um, Mike will be here on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday will be me, like I usually do. Um, I may talk to Chef Tom and Frank, see if we want to have a three-way show here uh, this week on Wednesday, because they were going to talk about the football games, and who knows, maybe we have all three on there. That's something that we could do. But I might as well just hang out for the rest of the game here. We got under a minute left. Um, but so we got about. I can't even see the screen here. I need my glasses on. 50 seconds left here. 24-19. 35-yard line. They need to go 60 or 36. They need to go 64 yards here. And I'm going to ask this trivia question here. And I'll see if you guys can answer it. What was the first NFL game? Well, let me rephrase that first. When you're watching the game here, you see the yard lines and everything, the lines on the field. You see them superimposed on the field here. My question is, what was the first NFL game to use these digitally enhanced lines like this in a football game? So my question is, these digital lines that they have in here when they have a snow game like this, what was the first game to use these lines? And if you really want to go for the extra brownie points, why were these lines created digitally? Okay, so after this next play, I will give you the answer to that question. What was the first game to use these digitally enhanced yard markers, lines, whatever? What was the first game that used them? So we got 10 seconds left on the clock here. Pittsburgh has no outs. And we're going by my answer here, by the way. It's not because of the Pats and Raiders. Now we have a Friday game next week, the Raiders and the Chiefs. Um, as we have a 2nd and 10 here from the Cleveland 44, 10 seconds left on the clock. Okay, so you get to about the 35, I believe. Got 6 seconds left here. It's 3rd and 1, but it's actually 3rd and 35 because they have to get the touchdown here. All right, so I'll give you the answer to my question here. This is my answer, and I'm pretty sure I'm right because rule number one, I'm always right. Rule two, when wrong, refer to rule number one. So the first game that used these enhanced yard markers for television was the Eagles Lions Snow Bowl about 10 years ago. And why did they use it? Because the Super Bowl was at the Meadowlands, which was a cold weather site, and Fox had the Super Bowl that year. So they had that ready just in case you had a snow game for the Super Bowl. Hmm. And Cleveland does what they are supposed to do there, knock it down, and they win it 24-19. And ladies and gentlemen, the Philly Phade wins yet again. So if you had the Cleveland Browns and you followed my pick from last night, congratulations, you are a winner. Some people will call me a wiener or another name that Mike calls me from time to time, but so we make up another 1.64 units here. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share my spreadsheet here. And we are now 13-5 in the month of November so far. And we are up 12.03 units in the month of November. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a comeback. And hopefully, we'll continue that comeback next week or this weekend with these 7 games. And who knows? Maybe if we get lucky, maybe we sweep all 7 games. Maybe we get closer to that 0 mark. And if we improve by this much, that's okay too. But we are getting hot here, and like they said in the Progressive commercial, sprinkles are for winners. But anyways, that's going to be it for this show here. Do want to thank Mike, SJ, um, Pork Chop was here, and anybody that's been lurking around on YouTube and the Bleacher Brothers X as well. We will do it live on Monday, once again at 9 o'clock. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Also eligible Saturday morning, 10 a.m. I'm thinking about doing this solo this week. We are going to be looking at the fairgrounds. The fairgrounds opens up tomorrow in New Orleans. There's some other event in New Orleans in February that SJ's Giants will not be playing in. I mean, the Giants may be there at the game, but they'll be in the crowd, not on the field. But uh, also eligible at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll be looking at the races from Del Mar. Not Del Mar. Jesus Christ. Give me one of those. I'll be looking at the races from the fairgrounds in New Orleans, one of the oldest racetracks in North America. So that's it for now. Mike, SJ, Pork Chop, anybody else who's watching on X or YouTube, thank you for joining me tonight. And we will do it live Monday night at 9 o'clock. Hopefully, the night after a big Eagles win. And hopefully, you get to see me Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Saturday morning will be on the Bleacher Brothers channels. In the chat is all the information. Oops. How's if I do it right? Why is this not working? All right. Well, I don't know what's going on here. For some reason, my Streamlabs isn't working, so I can't even do what I want to do here. So let's just call it a night. Mike, SJ, Pork Chop, everybody on YouTube and on. Um, uh, actually, let me try one other thing here. One other way I can do it. Yeah, something's going on. But anyways, that's it for now. I'll be live Saturday morning for also eligible, and we'll also do it live again on Monday night. Mike will be in studio here, and get your popcorn ready. So have a great night, everybody. Do appreciate everybody, and I will see you in the winner circle. Have a great night, everybody. See you Saturday, if not Saturday, Monday night.